Welcome, everyone, to the best Raiders podcast in the world. My name is Stephen Michaels. This is the Raiders Daily. Let's get right into it. The Raiders fail again. This team was up 17-0, and they managed to lose the football game 20-27 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The most embarrassing loss. Wow, we thought the Saints' loss was bad. This is the third time this season this team has had a 17-point lead and blew the game. Now, you can blame it on Derek Carr all you want. Yes, he was not that accurate in the second half, but let's be honest here. If the Raiders did the same thing they were doing in the first half, and that was being aggressive, this game would have never been close. But like I've been saying since the hire, and looks like I'm been proven right here, seems like I know something that other people just don't want to tell you, or they simply don't know football as much as me, and that is Josh McDaniels absolutely sucks. This guy cannot manage a football game to save his life. He does not know, halftime adjustments? Doesn't know how to do it. Just can't figure it out, this guy. Can't figure out halftime adjustments. Now, there's other factors as well, like the defense absolutely sucking. That secondary has to be the worst secondary in the National Football League. It has to be. They can't tackle. They're going up against Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, who give away the ball, more than anyone. You can't pick the guy off. And like I said in the pregame show, you're going to have to stop this E.T. guy, this running back for the Jags. Do the Raiders do that? No, of course not. Of course not, because they can't tackle. Their DT situation, their defensive tackle situation, is absolutely garbage. It continues to be garbage. They're just terrible. The Jaguars running back had over 100 yards in this game and 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs had 17 carries for 67 yards. Now that's fine, but you didn't really need, Jacobs had a lot of good runs in this game. But it was very clear in the first half how to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that was to feed Davante Adams. He was on fire. He finished the game with 10 catches for 146 yards and 2 touchdown passes. By the way, 9 of those catches came in the first half. The second half, he had 1 catch. 1 catch in the second half. Josh McDaniels dinking and dunking. Why? Because the Jaguars changed their defense. Oh, they split the safeties. It made no sense. Davante Adams could have ran post patterns all day long. All day long. It didn't matter if they had 2 single high safeties. You split the safeties. 1 safety. If they played at Tampa 2, it didn't matter. If the Raiders stayed aggressive, they would have blown out the Jaguars by 40 points. Instead, Josh McDaniels does not know how to manage a football game. And you throw on top of that the defense. They only play for 2 quarters. This Raiders team, throughout the season, every single game this year, they only play 2 quarters. They have yet to put together a 4-quarter football game. They don't know how to do it. They just simply don't know how to do it. This is a team that scored a touchdown in the first quarter, 13 points in the second quarter. And guess what they put up in the third and fourth quarter? 0 points. 0. They put up 0 points. How? Total plays, the Raiders had 57, the Jags had 68. The Raiders had 321 yards, the Jaguars had 403. They just weren't aggressive enough. And again, halftime adjustments. It just doesn't happen. They didn't have to adjust really anything at halftime. You go with what is working. And clearly, when you are up by that amount of points, 17 points, you know what's working. You know what is working. And the defense was starting to cave. So you had to keep the pedal to the metal, because the defense was going to allow Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars to score in every possession. That's what it seemed like. So you had to stay aggressive. You had to attack down the field. You couldn't just do these short little routes. It's like what, a 7-step post route to the flat? You can't do that. You got to stay aggressive throughout the game, because that's what was working. It didn't matter if they doubled Davante Adams or not. He was tearing them apart. But Josh McDaniels took that away and said, we're going to run the football a little bit. He just completely changed it. Meanwhile, guess what? If you do that, you're going to go 3 and out. You're going to give the ball back to the Jaguars offense, and your defense has already shown you they can't stop anyone in the NFL. Patrick Graham, by the way, I'm going to say this again. I'm sick of looking at his face every time I'm watching TV. He looks like his dog just died. He looks all sad. He doesn't look like he's into it. This team plays flat. This team does not like their coaches. And that is the reality of the situation. I am the only one that will tell you the truth. They don't like Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels is not a well-liked coach. There's no players in that locker room that like him. There's no players that like Patrick Graham. They don't like this coaching staff. Mark Davis put too much money into this coaching staff. He's going to have to swallow that money. He has to fire this coaching staff, or this team will never be good. And I know it's easy to point, like I said, it's easy to point fingers at Derek Carr. Yes, he made some terrible throws. And yes, the Raiders got to move on from Derek Carr after the season. This team, unfortunately, came into this season thinking they were going to be contenders. They spent money. They brought in Chandler Jones. They brought Davante Adams in. They gave a first-round pick for him. They were in win-now mode. That's what Mark Davis was sold. We are going to win now. Well, guess what? Even with Davante Adams, Chandler Jones, the guy might as well retire because he absolutely sucks. No impact at all. The only good player the Raiders have on defense is Max Crosby. Let's be clear here. Let's be real. That is the only good player they have. Now today, they're supposed to be signing Sidney Jones. He's a cornerback. A little late for that, don't you think? You've already lost 6 games. I mean, come on. You're not going to... Who are you fooling here? Who are you fooling? I mean, if you really think the Raiders still stand a shot at the playoffs, you're living in a fantasy world. The 2 teams this team has beaten are the Texans and the Broncos. They can't beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they spent the whole week there. And they were going to bond. Remember that? Remember all that bullshit we've been hearing all week? Oh, we're going to be closer as a team. Blah, 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 blah. Closer as a team. None of them even wanted to hang out with Josh McDaniels because they can't stand him. No one likes him. He's not a people person. He's not a player's coach. He's not even a coach. He's not like John Gruden. This team, they love John Gruden. They would have died for John Gruden on that field. Even if they lost by 30 points, they played hard for John Gruden. They don't play hard for Josh McDaniels. They don't care about Josh McDaniels. They don't care about Patrick Graham. They don't care about Mick Lombardi. They don't care about any of those guys. What the Raiders should do right now, and I'm being serious, fire all those guys, put Rob Ryan as the head coach. Maybe he will inject some energy into that team. Yeah, the Raiders aren't going to win a Super Bowl with this guy, but at least he has passion. At least he'll get fired up. At least it would be fun, right? Because right now it's not fun to watch the Raiders. Right now it's like watching a train wreck. Right now it's like watching it's like watching UConn versus the Patriots. It's like watching a minor league football team versus an NFL team every single week. No matter who the Raiders play, they can't seem to get it together, even though they have the talent already in place. And like I said, I'll go back to it. Yes, Derek Carr sucked in the second half. Yes, he missed throws. No doubt about it. They got to move on from that guy too. They have to start all over. And I know that sucks to hear for Raider fans. You guys are all geared up. Mark Davis was too. I wish he would have asked me. I would have told him, you're going in the wrong direction. It's not going to work. Now, I was hoping that with the talent the Raiders had, it would cover up pretty much what Josh McDaniels is, a fraud, and the talent would overcome his bad play calling and things like that, because Derek Carr would simply just audible out of certain situations and things like that. But I guess Derek Carr just simply won't do it, and then now look at him. I mean, this guy, I wouldn't be surprised if Josh McDaniels does not bench Derek Carr very soon. And I also wouldn't be surprised if Davante Adams does not request a trade after the season. He is not going to want to stick around another year with Josh McDaniels. I mean, this guy went to the media and bashed McDaniels. He said it to the media. That pretty much means the train is off the tracks, guys. When a player openly tells the media that he thinks the coaches are the reason why the Raiders aren't winning football games, he wants out. Clearly. I think Derek Carr wants out, and the Raiders should let him out. Because I don't think the Raiders will ever win a Super Bowl with Derek Carr, to be honest. I think they need to go draft a young quarterback. They're probably going to... I'm hoping they fire Josh McDaniels. If they fire Josh McDaniels, maybe in the offseason, I know Mark Davis just spent a ton of money, but you go after Sean Payton. Or you go after someone like that who you can bring in and really get this offense going. Because there's no need for it. Come on. We were halfway through the season. Josh McDaniels didn't even have an offensive line set yet. Their defense, they did nothing to get better at a defensive tackle position. Absolutely nothing. There was no pressure on the quarterback at all. They bring in Chandler Jones, who's, the guy's done. There's no point even having him out on the field anymore. He might as well retire. He is a Warren Sapp 2.0, but Warren Sapp was more productive. That is the truth. Chandler Jones does not deserve to be on that field. And their secondary is the worst secondary in sports. None of them know how to tackle. Jonathan Abrams sucks. He likes to talk a lot, but the guy can't play. He plays like shit. He sucks. They should just release him. I know they tried to trade him. No one even wanted him. They couldn't even give him away for a 7th round pick. There's some inside information for you. They couldn't give away Jonathan Abram for a 7th rounder because no one wants him. You put the tape on, you see this guy can't make a tackle. He does nothing to help this team. Nothing. Hunter Renfrow. What happened to that guy? He doesn't look like he even wants to play football anymore. Maybe he doesn't. But you just give him an extension. Probably going to have to eat the money. He certainly does not look like he wants to be there with this coaching staff. That guy looked so great last year. One of the best route runners I have seen in a long time. Now you see him on the field. It looks like he's not even trying anymore. And that goes back to the coaches. Again, these players don't want to play for this coach. And it shows on game days. They don't bring the energy. They don't bring the passion. They don't bring anything to the table. It's like they're just going through the motions of Josh McDaniels' bullshit scheme. The guy sucked in Denver. He got another chance, and he sucks again. The only reason why he was successful was because he was with the Patriots, and Tom Brady was really running that offense, not Josh McDaniels. That is the truth. That is the 100% truth. This guy is an egomaniac who thinks he's better than he is. Meanwhile, I can guarantee you, you give me a headset, I go out there, and I would outcoach Josh McDaniels 100 out of 100 games. I am better than Josh McDaniels. Anyone is better than Josh McDaniels. You right now, listening to this show, you are a better head coach than Josh McDaniels. He simply sucks. This team is in a lot of turmoil. Mark Davis, as an owner, has to make the right decision. And that decision is to fire Josh McDaniels. And I would even fire the general manager, because what did he do to improve this team? Did he bring in defensive tackles? Did he fix the offensive line before week 1? No, he did none of that. They have a makeshift offensive line, and it's week 7. Come on. Most teams going into week 1 know who their offensive linemen are. Most teams, would probably look at their defensive tackle situation and say, maybe we should get someone who's not just a run stuffer. Maybe someone who can get after a quarterback. Maybe someone who's actually good. But no, they thought, no, Chandler Jones and Max Crosby on the outsides will be just fine. We don't need no pressure in the middle. And we'll just let the running backs just run right through the middle. And Denzel Perryman will take care of it. So then you got one guy who's supposed to take care of all that. And then you got Diablo. Which, by the way, he has good numbers. He has good stats. But someone has to tackle on a team. This one has good stats. Otherwise, he sucks too. The whole defense sucks. You can't make an argument about this. This team just blew a 17-point lead again. They were up 20 points against Arizona, and they blew that lead. This team continues to blow leads. Kansas City, had a 17-point lead, blew it. I mean, it doesn't matter who they are. Literally, from Kansas City, the best team in the AFC, right? Or the Jacksonville Jaguars, who probably are one of the worst teams in the NFL. It doesn't matter. The Raiders still blow the lead and still lose the game. The Raiders have won 2 games, guys. 2 games. And it falls directly on this coaching staff. They are not prepared. If I was Josh McDaniels and I'm watching that game, how do you not make adjustments? How do you not? And if you think, I know, I can guarantee you, Josh McDaniels, he pretty much did. He blamed Derek Carr for the loss. So if you think Derek Carr's not being productive out there, put in your boy Stidham. Put him in. Put him in. You are the head coach of the football team. The owner at the end of the day is not going to get mad at you if you win a football game. If you think Jared Stidham is your best chance of winning, and maybe he is, because like I said, Derek Carr has regressed a lot. There's no denying that. So if you think Jared Stidham, who I don't think is better than Derek Carr, but if you think he is, I know Jared Stidham might run with the football more than Derek Carr. Maybe he won't be so scared of getting sacked. I don't know. But put him in. Put him in the game. You're not moving the football. You're going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Do something. Or you could just do what you were doing in the first quarter and the second quarter because the Jags couldn't stop it. But nope, you can't now because they split their safeties. Oh no. What's Devontae Adams going to do? Come on now. And then he dials up these plays that are just so stupid. These short little throws, and Derek Carr's not audibling out of anything. Because, again, Derek Carr is just an ass kisser and does whatever the coach says. When you can't do that. The best quarterbacks in football don't do that. It doesn't matter who the coach is. They are the ones out there on the playing field, not the coach. Remember that. The players know more than any head coach. They are actually in the trenches. They are actually playing the game. The coach is watching it from the sidelines. The player is going to know more than a coach will any day, any time during that game. I promise you. That's why Devontae Adams was so pissed. And that's pretty much what he said, by the way. That we knew what would work. We knew that if just throw me, I could get open anytime. Just, you got to give us that play. But McDaniels didn't give the Raiders that play. And now here we are. The Raiders at 2-6. Pretty much season's over. I mean, unless you think they're going to go undefeated the rest of the way. They can't beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. They haven't won a single away game this season. Not a single one. Luckily, hey, they got the Colts. They got the Colts coming up. You think they can beat the Colts? But even if they do, I mean, is that really going to save their season? They would have to win every single game. This is a team, for the third straight time, has blown a 17 or over point lead. This is a team that has yet to play 4 quarters of football. This is a team where the players don't like their head coach. This is a team, it's going to be an interesting offseason, I'll tell you that much right now. I hope they can beat the Colts. I really do. Maybe the players can simply say, screw McDaniels. Derek Carr can say, screw him. Let's just change every play in the huddle. Everything he calls, let's just do what pretty much what they did last season. You know what I mean? That's what they did last year. Greg Olsen wasn't doing anything. Derek Carr was going in the huddle, changing plays. They were playing pretty much backyard football. That's what they were doing. That's what they were doing, to be honest. And maybe that's what Derek Carr has to do. Or else, they're not going to win another game this season. I'm telling you. Josh McDaniels was never the right guy, and he's proven me right every single week so far. This guy's pathetic. So let's just move on, see what happens against the Colts. If the Raiders lose against the Colts, there is no reason why Josh McDaniels should be in that building anymore. There is absolutely zero reason for him to be in that building if they lose against the Colts. I mean, he shouldn't be in the building anymore now. But if he loses against the Colts, I think Mark Davis will finally say that's it. Because, games in Vegas, come on. It's it. It's over. It's over for McDaniels. Experiment failed. Put someone else as interim head coach. Doesn't matter. Season's over. And then go on from there. Go on from there. Hire someone the players actually like. Maybe have them, the captains of the team, meet the coach first. And then, pick a guy the players respect. Because they don't respect this guy. And this guy can't call a football game to save his life. Alright, everyone. That's it. I will see you guys next week. Let's hope the Raiders can get a victory against the Colts. You know what I mean? I mean, at this point, let's just hope they can win more than 2 games this season. That's where we're at right now. I have no faith in them. I don't know about you guys. But let's see what they can do. This team needs a lot of help right now. A lot of help. They are a complete dumpster fire. My name is Stephen Michaels. Let's hope for a win next week against the Colts. This is the best show you ever heard in your life. This is the Raiders Daily.